Good morning and welcome to the big assembly for Stephen Lawrence Day. My name is Ben Kajee and we'll get onto that in just a moment, but I just want to say a great big hello to everyone who's watching. We know that there are schools all over the country. So good morning, wherever you are. Hope that you're okay on this Friday and we're going to have some fun, hopefully in the next 20 minutes or so. Now it's called the big assembly because while you can only see me just hanging out in my dining room by myself, no one's here, although I saw my next door neighbour earlier, which was nice. There are loads and loads of schools all over the country. And, you know, when I was younger, I lived in the Midlands. I've lived in Devon. So if you're watching in Devon, hello. I went to university in Cardiff. I've lived in London and now I live up near Manchester. And I know that hopefully we've got people watching in Scotland and Northern Ireland as well. So good morning. As I mentioned, my name is Ben Kajee and some of you might have seen me before presenting on TV, or you might have heard me on radio or on apps and different things. So I do loads and loads of different bits. But you might have seen me on CBBS or CBBC, or maybe on Match of the Day and some other sport bits as well. Now, Stephen Lawrence Day, I was involved last year and again this year, and I feel kind of honoured and privileged to have been asked to be involved because I remember seeing news stories about Stephen when I was young, when I was in primary school, and speaking to my parents about Stephen and his life and what was happening in the country at the time. And actually, some of you probably know about social media and Facebook. And I actually looked at my Facebook memories the other day and something came up from when I was at university. It said 14 years ago. And me and my friends were doing something and remembering Stephen Lawrence 15 years on. And now it's 29 years later. I've experienced racism in my life from when I was really young, from when I was kind of in primary school. So I'm sure some of you watching today are 6, 7, 8 years old. And that was kind of my first experience of people saying nasty things and kind of me being othered because of the color of my skin and the fact that my parents are a mixed couple. So my sister and I are a mixed race or of dual heritage. So that happened a lot when I was growing up in places where I was supposed to feel safe, like at primary school, secondary school, when I got older and would be out in different cities and towns, when I played football, when I played cricket as well. And it was really hard, and it still is hard now when it happens. And as some of you might have seen over the last few years, we've done quite a bit of work on CBBS and CBBC about equality and everyone being equal. And invariably, when you do something big and it gets a lot of attention, there might be nice comments, but equally there are things that are really hard and not very nice to deal with as well. So over the last few years, I've had quite a lot of that, and it's changed. It might not now be said to my face while I'm playing football, but I might get nasty messages on social media or in comments. You know, I wrote something the other week for The Independent, so a newspaper, big newspaper in the UK, and yeah, there were some pretty nasty comments about me and my name because my surname's Kajee, and saying that I wasn't British or I wasn't English, and maybe they should get some English people to do it. I was born in Ipswich and I've lived in England the whole of my life. I'm 35 now. So some of that stuff is still really hard and quite painful. And some of you might have experienced that before or seen your friends and other people who might have experienced that themselves. Now, today's assembly, it's enough about me. Today's assembly is all about Stephen Lawrence and Stephen Lawrence Day, which has been celebrated on the 22nd of April each year since 2019 to remember Stephen. Now, we just mentioned it. 29 years ago, on the 22nd of April 1993, at the age of just 18, so not too much older than some of you watching and probably people that you know who are older than you, maybe brothers and sisters and cousins and people. Stephen was killed in an unprovoked racist attack. And after Stephen's death, his parents set up a charity to create positive opportunities for other people in memory of their son. And in 2020, so what's that, 2 years ago, good maths from me there, Baroness Doreen Lawrence, Stephen's mum, set up the Stephen Lawrence Day Foundation to work towards a fairer country and help young people just like you to achieve their dreams. So Stephen Lawrence Day is an opportunity for young people to have their voices heard, to make the changes they'd like to see, and to help to create a world that treats everyone with fairness and respect. And hopefully we can all agree that that's something that is really, really good and a positive thing. So through Stephen Lawrence Day, we want young people just like you to be inspired about what you can achieve in your own life and to speak to people as well, like your teachers and colleagues and family members. And we want you to get involved in creating the kind of community and the kind of world and the kind of space that you want to live in. And we want you to have a strong voice in building a world where everyone feels included. So it's also quite similar to what I was saying a little bit earlier, where everyone's welcome and people are treated fairly and with respect. So right now we'd like to show you a little video. It's a special video, and it's recorded by Baroness Doreen Lawrence of Clarendon, Stephen's mum. And this is a message from her to all of the young people watching.
Welcome to Stephen Lawrence Day 2022. I'm Baroness Doreen Lawrence of Clarendon, OBE. Many of you would not have known about Stephen. Stephen was happy. He loved school. He loved sports. His hobbies were art, and he was well into architecture, and that's what he wanted to be. As Stephen grew up, he loved life, and he was just like any of you young people in school today. Stephen died back in 1993. The Stephen Lawrence Day was introduced by Theresa May, the then Prime Minister. And the day should be about a celebration of Stephen's life. So the foundation was set up in 2020. And what we're trying to achieve is looking at education. And we got the idea about the 3 C's, which is to do with the classroom, community and careers. It's all about young people. You're a part of all of those. School in the classroom is where you have your education. Community is where you're part of the community with your family and your friends. And careers is when you dream about what you like to be when you grow up. So the foundation is there in order to help you to achieve your dreams. In the classroom, for me, is looking at education, how important that is for young people as they grow up. I'd like everyone to understand who they are, where they're from, and understand their background. There's lots of opportunity that provides you through school. So once you leave school, there's, within careers, there's so many options that you can choose. Steve wanted to be an architect. And now we have the apprenticeship. So there's so many options out there for young people now. And the foundation is where you can achieve those dreams also, because we are linking up with so many different professions that can help you to achieve your dreams. Communities brings people together, and the foundation is working with different organizations as partners. So we to make sure for our young people that they have the opportunity to engage within their community. I'd like to thank you for participating in the Stephen Lawrence Day 2022. Follow us on social media at SL Day.
Thank you to Baroness Doreen Lawrence, and a big special thank you as well to De Montfort University's Stephen Lawrence Research Centre, the Stephen Lawrence Day ambassadors from the Winstanley School, Ruben, Privilege, and Anopa and Kanisha from the City of Leicester College for creating that video. Now, you might have noticed that sometimes I have to look down, and that's because I've got lots of notes in front of me, so sorry about that, but I'm not looking at you the whole time. Now, you might be wondering why we're telling you about Stephen's story 29 years later, and that's because Baroness Lawrence used her unique voice to stand up for what was right, and she spoke about some of those things during that little video that we just saw. And I thought it was interesting as well that she said there are so many different options. This isn't in my script, by the way, this is just me ad-libbing, of different things that you might do as you get older. And I graduated from university in 2009, and since then, well, you probably need more than my 2 hands to count how many different jobs that I've done, because I worked in a shop in Marks and Spencer's. If any of you know Marks and Spencer's, I used to work in the food hall there. I worked doing some business development and writing, journalism. I worked in cancer research. I tried to sell Sky TV packages really badly, did that for about a week and then stopped. I worked on charity projects in different parts of the world, went to Kenya and India. I worked in cricket, I love cricket. So I worked in sport development for 3 years, and then somehow someone saw me and said, oh, CBeebies are looking for new presenters and we think you might be okay doing that, you should apply. And here we are 7 years later. So there are so many different things that you might end up doing, and you don't really know where that journey is going to take you. But I would say that nothing is wasted. Whatever, if you get an opportunity, give it your best shot, because you don't know where it's going to lead or the people that you're going to meet along the way. So there's my little bit of advice for today. So as we were saying about Baroness Lawrence, the Labour government awarded her a title to recognise the important work that she'd done helping bring communities together across the UK. So We've got people watching today in Scotland, Northern Ireland, Wales, and England, all over the UK. Baroness Lawrence spoke up about racism and unfair treatment and campaigned for change, and this resulted in changes to the law that makes things fairer for everyone. Now, everyone's voice is important because we're all unique, aren't we? We're all different. You just have to look around your classroom, and everyone in there is different. Everyone's got their own things that they're into, and the way that they like to dress, or what they like to do with their hair, or the colours that they like, or the football team that they support, whatever it might be. So we're going to take a few moments to think about some of those things, and we're going to talk about what makes us unique. Now, we heard Baroness Lawrence tell us that Stephen loved school and sports, and you can probably remember what job he wanted to do. Shout it out loud if you know. Not too loud, your teachers might be annoyed at me. Do you know? Yeah, he wanted to be an architect. And he competed as a runner as well, and he used his art skills to start a business with a friend making caps and t-shirts. I don't suit caps really. I've only ever had one that looks good on me. The rest have really big peaks. I look like I'm about 7 when I wear them. He was studying technology, physics, and English, and he wanted to go into university and be an architect. Stephen was a unique young man, and he would have gone on, I'm sure, to achieve amazing things. So we're going to think about what makes you unique. What are your special talents and hobbies? Have a little think about that. I'll try and answer these as well. So I haven't written any answers down, but I'll have a think. Well, when I was younger, so when I was in primary school, I was good at cricket, and I really liked football, but I played county standard cricket at the end of primary school and early in secondary school. So I'd say that was my favourite thing, really, and the thing that was my talent. People would say, oh, Ben's quite good at cricket. So have a think about what you're good at. What's your favourite subjects at school? Could be anything. It might be drama or maths. Maybe you're really good at English. Maybe you like reading and writing. Could be history. My favourite subjects at school, I'm not sure actually. I wasn't very good at science, so it wasn't science. I quite liked English. And then when I got to A-levels, I really liked doing media studies because it kind of combined lots of things that I was interested in. So music and film and writing. But yeah, when I was younger, I did quite like maths as well because I like doing mental arithmetic. That was always fun, doing your times tables. The next question, what do you aspire to be? So we heard that Stephen wanted to be an architect. I didn't want to be a TV presenter. When I was younger, I wanted to be a cricketer. And then I wasn't really sure by the time I got to university. I didn't really know. I still don't know, actually. What do you want to be? And who do you want to be? Because I think that's really important as well in terms of the values that you think about and kind of the way that you treat people. What makes you unique? What makes you different? And what makes you special and unique? I'm not really sure. I think that's quite a hard question. I'd say I try and be myself and try and treat people properly. I like people, like spending time with different people, whether they're older than me or younger. And I think that's something that when I was at school, people would be like, why do you speak to the teachers? Or why have you got a friend who's 70? Why are you talking to them? I just like people. How can you use your special talents in your community and share them with others? Ooh, that's a good question. Right, well, I used cricket when I worked for the International Cricket Council in sport development to try and inspire other people to play cricket and get them interested in it. Some people would say it's really boring, cricket. Well, it can be, but it can also be really fun and exciting. And the basics of cricket are great. It's like reflexes and hitting things really far and throwing things as fast as you can. It's quite cool. And in terms of talking to people, I think that's great, isn't it? Because it brings people together, especially over the last few years. And lots of you will have experienced this when you had to work from home or study from home, and you might have spent loads of time by yourself. So there'll be lots of people, like my next door neighbour who I mentioned. She's 86, I think, and she lives on her own. So if I can go and say hi and have a chat to her, and talk about what she's watched on TV and about the weather and what she's up to, and she's really interested in like what I'm doing, then that's nice. She says that she really likes that. So that's cool. Okay, so take a look around and look at the people that you're sitting with and what makes them unique. You might see someone and think, oh yeah, they're amazing at whatever it might be. And how can you recognize, support, respect, and celebrate these differences? How can you lift them up and make them feel good? And how could you find out more about them so that their voice is heard? Because if they're really interested in recycling or they're really interested in music or something, how can you make that something that is celebrated and that other people can hear about? Okay, let's have a think about people who inspire you as well. So I do understand, by the way, that this is just me talking for ages by myself, and it's just me looking at myself as well. which is a bit odd. So yeah, I hope that it's okay so far, and that you're all right. So for me, different people have inspired me throughout my life. When I was young, I think we touched on this earlier in terms of racism that I experienced at school. There was a friend of mine called Roger, and I remember him sticking up for me. And it was 25, nearly 30 years ago, between 25 and 30 years ago. And I remember, I won't tell you exactly what was said because it wasn't very nice, but he stuck up for me when he didn't have to. He could have just kept quiet and not said anything. But I thought that was really, when I look back, it was a really brave thing to do, and it meant a lot to me because he didn't care that they were being mean to me about the color of my skin. He was like, I don't care, Ben's my friend. So he that is something that I look back and think, no one told him to do that. He was just brave and did what he thought was right. So now I would say people who inspire me and people I talk to, I've got my friends and my parents, my mum and dad, and then people I've never met before. So you might have sports stars that you like, or music stars, or film stars, or whoever it is. So sport, when I was younger, when I was about your age, I loved Brian Lara, who played cricket for Warwickshire in the West Indies. Music, if you've heard of the Foo Fighters, Dave Grohl. I love Dave Grohl. I've actually got a picture of him up there on my wall. And Denzel Washington, who's one of my favourite movie stars. And I keep asking them to get him in to read a CBeebies bedtime story, because for ages I asked them to get Dave Grohl, and he did it in October, which was awesome. So have a think, maybe after we finish, about who inspires you. And it could be a friend or a family member or someone that you've never met before. It might be Raheem Sterling or Marcus Rashford or anyone. It could be anyone in the world. Now, your school have supported Stephen Lawrence Day by taking part in today's assembly, and you can carry on supporting and using your unique voice all year round by doing lots of other activities. So I'm going to give you a few examples. You could write a letter or maybe a poem. We spoke about it, but you might really like English and writing, so that would be a good idea. For Baroness Lawrence, you can explain why her son's story means so much to you, and you could use your talents maybe to raise money. You do a sponsored walk. I did one when I was in primary school. I think it was 12 miles. It was a long way. You could do a bake sale. Maybe you like baking. Maybe that's your special skill. Or you could make a donation to the Stephen Lawrence Day Foundation, anything that you like. You could create a poster. Maybe you're really good at art, about Stephen's story, and you could display it at your school or your place of worship or your community group, or just on your fridge at home. You could celebrate difference by sharing your out-of-school achievements with your class, or sharing a book, music, or film that reflects your heritage with your friends. That's pretty cool. That would be a nice idea. And if there isn't one, then maybe you could make one. You could come up with something really creative and do it yourself. You can listen and learn from a range of different people and explore stories through art and books, and learn about people who are different to you. You could ask your library as well about the Stephen Lawrence Day reading list for 2022. That's a good idea. Now, we've touched on this as well. You can talk to your friends and your teachers and people outside of your school community about what happened to Stephen, because I think the more people who learn about what happened, the more can be done to create a kinder and a fairer world. And hopefully, if you see something at school or elsewhere, make sure that you're safe. But if you can, someone in your class is being mean to someone, maybe you could, be brave like my friend Roger and step in and say, that's not very nice. And look, maybe we should work this out and be a bit kinder and nicer to each other. So hopefully that's all given you some ideas about how your small actions can make a big difference. We said earlier about recycling. Sometimes it feels like, if I just recycle this one plastic bottle, will that make a difference? I could just put it in the normal bin. But if everyone, how many people are in the UK? 60 odd million, 70 million or something? Every person uses one plastic bottle even a week, and everyone recycles them. That's 65, 70 million plastic bottles that get recycled. So it's the little things that add up. And however you choose to continue celebrating Stephen Lawrence Day today and remembering Stephen's story all year round, know that your voice is unique and powerful, and you can use it to celebrate our differences, and you can stand up for what you think is right. So thanks again for joining the big assembly. What time is it? 9:51. Okay, so hopefully you'll have about 10 minutes or so now to have a little chat to your classmates and maybe your teachers as well, and they can help out in terms of having a discussion about some of the things that we've spoken about. And you can head to social media as well, if you probably with a grown-up, because some of those social media sites, you've got to be 12 or 14. But you can find more information there. And there's loads of stuff on the website as well, with videos, ideas, and activities. And you can look and use those all year round. And the recording of this assembly will be available on the Stephen Lawrence Day Foundation's YouTube channel. So if you want to watch it again and look at me for 20 minutes, then you can. And I hope you found some of this helpful, and I hope you have some good discussions, and that you think about this today and think about Stephen and his life and what was taken from him and what he wanted to do. And hopefully that can give you some motivation to be good people and look after people in your community and be kind to others. So the final thing to say really is that if you or someone you know is facing any kind of discrimination or racism, then you should always tell a teacher or a trusted adult. And there are always people there who can help you out, because we definitely don't want you to feel alone and that you have to suffer that silently. So thanks so much for watching, and wherever you are in the UK, hi, and I hope you enjoy some sunshine today and at the weekend, and you can think about Stephen and take some inspiration and motivation from this assembly, and hopefully I'll see you soon. Bye.